All right, thank you very much, Marissa. So our next guest is premiering some music today for the new Fantastic Four film. It's the first movie that I've been excited about for in a while. It's coming out on July 25th, and I'm double excited that our friend is the man behind the music, and he is joining us today from London, on the move, heading to Hyde Park as we speak for a performance with the Royal Philharmonic Concert Orchestra. Ladies and gentlemen, our friend, Michael Giacchino. Hey! How you doing, man?
Hey, how are you?
We are great. It is good to see you. You are currently riding in a vehicle through London.
I am in a vehicle that is a nice park in London. London is known for its parks. There you go. You can rent a bike and go around if you want. Yeah.
We're watching via Zoom, so those of you who are on our YouTube feed, you can see the sights of London that Michael is showing us as our tour guide today.
It's lovely. It's a lovely day. Yeah, it looks like
it's an amazing day. It's incredible. I was actually just home in Philly for a couple of days, very short stay, and I was. This is much better.
Yeah, it's gross here. It is a gross summer. It's just disgusting.
Well, you get this. We had the sun, but you're also getting that humid, wet fart.
Yeah,
that it's just a nightmare. So, well, what better weather for a concert?
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's going to be so much fun. It's going to be so much fun. I can't even believe this day is here. Like, we're so close to the release of this movie because I've been working on it, I feel like, for a very long time. And it's been, so I'm just so happy to get it out in the world.
So, Michael, there's a group of people that are you conducting tonight? Because I was reading the bill.
No, I think I could have if I wanted to, but I just got here yesterday, and it was just like, I'm going to go on stage. I'm going to talk to the audience. I'm going to do all of that stuff. And then I think their conductor is going to handle the thing today. But I'll do that. I'll do it in L.A., I'm sure.
Listen, about the music in Fantastic Four, obviously you've been working on this for a while, but we've started to really warm up to the trailers once they started being released and this kind of retro look about the film, which just is very appealing to the eye and has immediately got me interested. Besides the fact that I have always liked those characters. I didn't really love the movies that came out, but I appreciated them. But this one with this vibe looks so cool. How much with that retro look influenced the direction you were taking with the feel of the music?
Oh, very, very. It influenced it quite a bit, actually. Matt Shackman, the director of the film, was really going for this retro future thing, which I loved so much. And one of the things that stood out to me about the movie and the script was there was a hope and an optimism to it that I felt like was missing from a lot of other films of the same ilk. And it really helped it stand apart from everything else in a way that was, really fun, because for me, then I could lean into this other area that I'm usually not leaning into when I'm doing these superhero films, which are usually darker and brooding and everything is such a mess. And I got to figure out not only my life, but I got to figure out what's going on with the bad guy too. That's the world I'm usually playing in. So this was really fun. And I remember the first conversation I had with them, I said, for me, this feels like it needs to be like the baby of both the right stuff and the Disneyland Electric Light Parade.
Ooh.
And I thought that's what this is to me. Those two ideas mashed together. And so that's what the main theme is.
I was listening to a piece of the music, and you had debuted, I guess it was the main underlying theme you're on stage. I don't know exactly where it was, but I was watching a YouTube video. And it was atypical of what you do, and you're obviously a Swiss Army knife of capabilities. But this, I completely catch that right stuff vibe. I completely catch that music you might see accompanying a NASA film, and it does involve obviously they go into space for multiple times. But I do love the return of hope and heroes and the Fantastic Four, which was, there's sort of the step-off point for so much of this. Were you a Fantastic Four fan growing up?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I still have my Thing and Johnny action figures, my Mego ones. The other ones fell apart. But I still have those two survive. And so, I love the comics for that because they were so outrageous in a way. I mean, look, think about it. You're talking about a rock guy, a fire guy, a stretchy guy, and an invisible lady. Yeah. So it's a little kooky, right? But there is a wonderful thing that happens when those characters come together, and especially in this movie. What I love most about it is just the family aspect of it. Just when they're together around a table, it's awesome. I love that, and everything else is just a bonus. But I feel like if you can get that kind of stuff right, you're giving the audience something special, because usually those are the kinds of moments that are left out of big movies like this.
Michael, I got to take a step back from something you said just a moment ago. It triggered a memory when Nick and I had a chance to come by. We came over to your house for dinner. It was wonderful. And you actually had, I remember this, you had the Electric Light Parade music playing.
We did have that playing.
At your house. That's so funny.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, it's...
When nerds come out.
Dude. Yeah.
No. You listen, we are of a kind, and either you get it or you don't, but you want to be surrounded with your toys and your music and your geekiness. Yeah. And I'm sorry. At a certain point, you've earned it in life. So I commend you for that.
Every man deserves his nerd castle.
Michael, let me ask you a quick question. When it comes to your memorabilia that you own, does it hold more value to you if it was yours to begin with and you held on to it from your childhood? Because I have all this I have an Alf doll. It's not mine. Somebody sent it to me. You know what I mean? I have original Star Wars sheets that I inherited in college. It's not mine, and it feels like stolen valor. Do you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean, and I do think that the things that are mine from when I was a kid are the things that I value the most, and those are really the only things I have on display in terms of my toys. Are really like my old Star Trek figures, my old Marvel figures, my old Star Wars action figures. All of that stuff that I have on display in my office are the ones that I played with as a kid. They are the ones. My Lone Ranger, all of
wow.
Stuff, it was like, and that's what I love about it. I have very little of the sort of newer toys or the things that were passed on. The other stuff I love is, if I have something from a movie I worked on. One of my favorite things I have, and it sounds silly to say this, but it's the speedometer from Star Trek. That there's a shot in Star Trek in the opening of the movie when young Kirk is driving the thing, and he floors the thing, and they cut to the speedometer, and the speedometer's going, it's going up, it's speeding up. I asked JJ, I called him after I was working on that shot. I was looking at the movie, and I said, hey, how did you get that shot so close up of the thing? And he goes, I'll explain it to you later. And then the next day shows up on my doorstep, the speedometer that they shot for the movie. They created a new one so that the camera could just do a super close up of it.
Right.
And so that's sitting on my shelf, which is one of my favorite things. And it's not like, Luke's lightsaber or anything, but for me, it's special because it is something that I worked on as well.
That's so cool. I wanted to ask another question about Fantastic Four, because when Preston and I were lucky enough to be out there for the Spider-Man, you guys were scoring it to scenes from the movie, and we were only allowed to watch a little bit of it. At what point do you get to see the entire movie, the Fantastic Four, and also do you do the music for the trailers that come out?
Well, not always. This time, yes, I did. This time I did the music for the trailers. Because what we did was I wrote a piece of music. They were doing a drone show at Comic-Con last year to announce, Fantastic Four and get everyone excited about it, and they wanted music for it. So I went ahead and wrote the main theme and a couple other themes for Galactus and Silver Surfer, and we used those for the drone show, and then they ended up using all the music for their Hall H presentation as well. So that music was just sort of blasted out there a year ago. And so since then, it's been used in all of the marketing, all the trailers, all of the stuff going along, which is really fun to be able to do. You don't always get the chance to do that because you come in so late in the game, and by that time, their marketing plans are already set.
Right.
But when you do it early, and the same thing happened on the Batman as well. That was written like more than a year before release, and they were able to use that as well. It's also really helpful, I think, for the filmmakers because they can bring it to set, they can play it for the actors, and everyone immediately gets a sense of what the tone is of the movie. It's just a shortcut goes boom right there. When you play a piece of music for someone, you just instantly get a feeling for what it is and what you need to do. So I find it very helpful to do it, but it's very rare that we actually get to do it.
It's funny you mentioned that, and I'm going to take parts of all of this conversation and work it in because you just mentioned the Batman, and I moved around so much, I don't have a lot of my old toys and stuff like that, so I'm operating with new stuff. So my new Rob Pattinson, the Batman, came in the mail.
Oh, I saw that. That's amazing, isn't it?
It's unfreaking real. And I have it on my table outside. And I'm telling you this, Michael, because I think I can admit this to you without you pointing your finger and laughing. I'm walking around with my iPhone taking pictures, and I'm going, dun, 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 dun. I swear, as God is my witness, my wife looked at me and said, "Are you scoring your picture-taking session?"
That's so funny you do that, because my friend Andy DeWald, who's from Philadelphia, he goes around singing, "Here Comes Batman."
I put words to it. Yes.
Which is so funny. And by the way, he's a huge fan of yours too, and he'll freak out when he hears that I actually mentioned his name.
Oh, that's cool.
I love it. So, Michael, with writing for, you had mentioned Silver Surfer and Galactus and having to write themes for them, and obviously that's what you do. And I want people to, if you go to films and you see certain characters pop up and you'll hear a musical cue come in, try to remind yourself of those melodies, because sometimes they recur because they're a quote-unquote theme for those characters.
They're cues.
It's something that I wasn't aware of until I started watching some YouTube videos that started pointing things out about specifically each character has their own theme. So here with Fantastic Four, you have 4 main characters. You've got to come up with those themes. And are you taking attributes of their characters to inform that, like, is Mr. Fantastic is intelligent, and I want to lean on that a little bit, or Johnny is kind of reckless and egomaniacal, and do I put elements of that? And are you sonically trying to create what their characters are?
I find that when you have an ensemble like this, it's better to come up with something that binds them together. So the main theme for Fantastic Four really applies to all of them, because separate, they are not the Fantastic Four. I don't know what they are when they're not together. That's not. So it's all about them being together, staying together, right, and working together. So there is a main theme which represents, I feel like, what the world thinks of the Fantastic Four. And then there is a sub-theme, which is sort of a family theme, which is something quite different, which is it's more emotional and it's more attuned to who they are as people and as a family.
Okay.
So on this, and then so you have those 2 ideas for the family, and then you have Galactus, of course, which is his own thing, and then Silver Surfer too. And then, of course, there's all these little other kind of crazy little melodies that pop up in different moments of the movie. Like there's a particular piece of music for this one action scene, which is really you only hear those melodies in that scene, so you know what that is. But it's really fun.
Cool.
There is a
and the person, and just so you know, the person who did that years ago, the person who started that style of scoring, which we still do today, is Max Steiner, who recorded the original King Kong.
Yeah.
So it was, and he took that from the idea of operas, and operas using leitmotifs or themes to identify particular characters. He did that for King Kong, and we've been doing it the same way ever since. That was 1933.
Wow, that's wild, because if you watch King Kong, that is that threat. It's great, and the second you hear it, you're transported to that. I wanted to ask about the status of them. I'm a massive sci-fi fan. I consider them one of the classic, as many do, science fiction movies. We're thrilled to know that you're doing your remake of it. And I wanted to suggest we had the opportunity to talk to a young composer named Mick Giacchino.
Never heard of him.
And if you're looking for a soundtrack, because he did The Penguin, which was amazing. So let me ask you, in all seriousness, are you going to score your own movie, and is Mick a consideration?
Well, the plan is for me to score my own movie, yes. And but the backup plan is not a bad one either. If everything falls apart and I don't have the time for it, that wouldn't be a bad plan, actually, because he's incredible, and in many ways I look at it and I'm like, I'm slightly jealous because he's a better version of me.
Well, you've done well then.
Yes.
Yeah.
Michael, I wanted to ask you about a couple of guys called the Newton Brothers. They did the score for Daredevil. They did X-Men 97. And I think I'm just paying more attention to scores, partly in part because of the work that you've done over the years. Do you know the Newton Brothers? Are you familiar with their work?
I don't know them. I know who they are, though, but I don't know them, and I'm not too familiar with the work. I haven't seen Daredevil. I haven't seen anything. I've been just staring at Fantastic Four for a year.
Yeah.
There's a lot that I need to catch up on.
In that world, and to that point, I mean, you can, we just naturally assume you're working in this arena, so you're going to encounter these people. But it is,
you know what? It's a solitary job.
Yeah.
And it's not like you get to go to at the end of the day, you go hang out at the composer's bar. Like you don't hang out with each other because you're writing. When you're writing, you're alone. And when you're recording, no one's allowed on set or on stage because, it's one of those kinds of things. So you don't really interact unless you're at some sort of gathering or an event or something. You might run into some of them. But
there's not a great hall of composers that gather with torches and everything.
No, it's not like what's that movie? The Michael Douglas movie. The chamber.
Star Chamber?
Star Chamber. Yeah, it's not like that.
If you're just tuning in, we're talking to Michael Giacchino. He is checking in, zooming from London as we speak. He's on his way to Hyde Park for a performance tonight with the Royal Philharmonic Concert Orchestra. Were you just at Abbey Road Studios? Is that where you're leaving from?
I was. No, not today. Today I was at.
Okay.
Where was I at? What was I? Classic FM today. I was at Classic FM.
But I did,
this morning. I was here just a few weeks ago at Abbey Road for a while. Yeah.
Okay. And I'm just curious, when you go to Abbey Road Studios and you've been there many times, do you have to think about the Beatles every single time you go there, right?
Oh, absolutely. And whenever that Studio 2 door is open, you go in and you walk through, and it's like visiting a church. You go in, you pay your respects, and then you go. And the room that I record in there is the room that they recorded so much of their orchestral stuff for those songs in that room as well. So there's one time, actually, a great story that all right, this is gonna. So that Paul McCartney told me. He told me this great story about Abbey Road, and he said one time they were recording in the big room where we record all our scores. And he said the engineer kept stopping them. Okay, so I keep hearing noises. And they're like, well, we're not making any noises. They're checking the amps. They're doing all this stuff. They don't know what to do. So, okay, try again. They try again. The engineer stops them. Something's going on. So he comes out into the room and he goes up, and what they find out is two girls had snuck in, and they were in the rafters up there watching them record, and they were giggling. And every time they would start playing, and the engineer would hear it, so they had to chase them out.
Oh, that's great.
What an excellent story.
That's hilarious. I'm really enjoying watching this interview because we're seeing the double-decker buses behind you and a couple of, the black cabs.
Yes,
are you right by Buckingham Palace now? Where did you just pass?
I don't know. Where are we? We're near the Marble Arch.
The Marble Arch.
Oh, there we go. Oh, nice.
Dude.
So what part of town is that? And I don't know London that well. Where is Hyde Park in relation to like Abbey Road or Buckingham Palace or any of those famous landmarks?
I mean, it's like LA. They're all within 40 minutes of each other.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's that kind of thing. What part of town is this?
This is like near Buckingham.
Near Buckingham
I
Palace.
thought so, man. I keep thinking of that song "Cities" when they say, "Think of London, small city." But this is dark in the daytime, but it is bright as hell right there. You got nice blue skies and everything.
Oh my God, it's incredible. No, it's an amazing city. I do love being here. I love working here. The musicians are incredible. Just the best, for sure.
I wanted to ask you, Michael, because you've taken some, obviously you've stepped outside and kind of reconstituted some of your soundtrack work into different works and what you did. Yeah, and like with the Nouvelle Orchestra and things like that. That's obviously feeding a part of what you do creatively. When you go into a soundtrack now, as you're starting to record, do you kind of say, oh, I need to revisit this?
Oh, yeah. We already, actually at the sessions for Fantastic Four, we did a Tiki version of it as well for the Tiki album. Because we were there. We're like, hey, let's do it. Let's do a Tiki version. So we recorded that, and that was amazing. And that was arranged by Jeff Kricka, who's right here.
Hey,
Jeff.
What's up, Jeff?
Hey.
How you doing, man?
Yeah. Oh, that is
My
cool.
orchestrator. Yeah.
Michael, without giving too much away about the movie, because I know you can only say so much, I heard somebody say a few months ago that they thought that this movie, actually it was Kevin Smith, the director, he said that they thought this was going to be sort of like the Empire Strikes Back of the Marvel Universe, that it's going to be reset, it's going to be dark. What's your tone coming out of Fantastic Four?
My tone, personally, or what do you mean?
Yeah, like, what do you...
I mean, look, here's it. I just hope people go in and have fun. I want people to go in and have fun with this thing. That's the ultimate rule. I mean, nowadays it's so hard. Everyone is so critical about everything, and there's so much information out ahead of time. I yearn for the days when you would just open the newspaper and go, hey, look what's playing. Let's go see that, without any knowledge whatsoever of what you're about to get into. And you guys know this. You remember growing up in the 80s and the 70s, it was like, that's what it was. You would go see a movie. Well, what's this? It's a ghost movie. Poltergeist. I don't know what this is. Let's go see it.
Yeah.
You know, that doesn't exist anymore. So I would encourage people just to go see it, have fun, and that's the end of the story. You know, just go get out there and have fun.
We were talking to Jerry Bruckheimer. We just dropped a name. And I was saying that I'm feeling the energy start to pick back up for the theater experience, especially like with the stuff that he's doing. It is so important, and you're right. And I say this, it's a double-edged sword. We have a glut of pre-production information and stills and videos that come out now, and I'm too weak to avoid it. But I do yearn for the days, Michael, when I would sit and look at the full-page movie ad in the New York Times and go, I can't wait. And just look at the parts of the picture and go, oh, my God, King Kong is on the World Trade Center now. You know, and
it was amazing.
It was
fun. It was such a great gift. And it was such a simple way to do it. And it has gotten so complicated. And I understand the need to do it. I understand the marketing aspects of it all, but I don't know. There's just something really wonderful about keeping it simple and just saying, I'm just going to go see this thing.
Yeah.
No information, no judgment, no nothing.
One of the greatest movie experiences of my life was seeing Star Wars, because I knew nothing about it. I mean, literally,
I was the same.
I was told we're going to see some space movie, and I'd seen a bunch of space movies, and then that opening scene happens, and it was, oh my God! I've never seen anything like this before. But you're right.
I remember seeing it was 1977. It was in Orleans at the movie theater in Orleans in Cape Cod. We were on a vacation. And my brother John went and saw it because it was raining, and then he came back, and he dragged me to see it the next day. And he couldn't at all explain what it was to me. It was just like he couldn't explain. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go see this thing. And same thing, just blew my mind, changed everything.
You used to look at the movie marquee and go, okay, I'll try that out. Or would you go in and the movie you wanted to see was sold out? You go, okay, I'll try this. And it was
so
like,
you look at the posters and you're like, okay.
It was a Whitman sampler. That's Die Hard was that way for me. The original Die Hard in Rochester, New York. I was doing stand up. And I said, okay, let me try this. That's the guy from Moonlighting. Okay.
Yeah.
And the rest is history. Great experience.
I remember seeing that, I think, in Morristown. Not far from Cherry Hill, actually.
Okay.
So,
I remember, vividly remember, like, basically acting the movie out after it was, you get home from the movie.
Well,
like, it didn't matter which movie it was. You acted it out when you came home.
And if you'd seen a porn movie, that was great.
Well, we saw.
Was like, what are you doing?
We saw the movie Break-In when we were on. It's same thing. We were on vacation in Longport and it rained, and we went and saw Break-In, and then we came home and we were. Me and my brother and sister, we didn't know how to break dance, but we tried to break dance, and what we did? We did break dance. We broke a table.
Oh my God! Do you want to hear something? I have Super 8 footage of me break dancing on my parents' kitchen floor.
Gotta see that.
It will never see the light of day.
Were you Turbo or Ozone?
Definitely Turbo.
Michael, what was your local theater growing up? Because I went to the Anthony Wayne Theater, which is on Route 30. There were two in the King of Prussia Mall that I went to quite a bit. A lot of them are gone, but some of them are coming back, which is pretty cool. Hopefully, the Anthony Wayne Theater on Route 30 in Wayne is actually going to be restored and reopened at some point.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
My local theater is long gone. It was the Fox Theater in Willingboro, New Jersey. And that has been bulldozed for some sort of, probably a Starbucks or something. I have a brick from it, though, from when they knocked it down.
Oh,
my brother
nice.
went over there and grabbed a couple bricks from it. So I do have that. The other one was Millside Center, which is also gone. There was the Dollar Theater in Cinnaminson. That's gone. The ones in Cherry Hill that I used to go to are gone, but they have new ones. Same with Morristown.
It's a shame because there's history, and we do live broadcasts every year from the Colonial Theater in Phoenixville, which is where they shot The Blob, a few scenes from The Blob, and it's really fun. I saw A Complete Unknown there, the Dylan biopic this year, and it was just so much fun to then walk out of the movie, which was a great experience with my parents, and then walk out on a Bridge Street. It's different than walking out of a multiplex.
into a mall. Yeah, I know. I love that. And well, that's why, Quentin Tarantino has a beautiful theater in LA, which is great. And it's fun to go watch old things there. But it's that same feeling when you walk out into the daylight, right? You're walking out into the daylight, which is always an amazing experience as a kid. After seeing a movie, you're in the darkness, you're in your own world for a while. And then suddenly the blinding daylight, and then you're talking about the movie, all of that. It's such a nostalgic feeling for that.
Oh, I have an incredible memory of my mother taking me to see The Exorcist. My father was too afraid to go see it.
Yep.
And we walk out of it. It's the Larkfield Theater, Long Island, New York, and that exact experience. We've just gone watch this child from hell and all this in the darkness, and you walk out into broad daylight. And it's like, oh my God, it's such an amazing experience. I wanted to ask you though, Michael. So Tarantino has a theater. Kevin Smith has a theater.
When am I getting a theater?
Are you going to get your theater?
Well, I don't know. I like to say my theater is at home.
Yeah, okay. All right. That's good enough.
Look at these gates.
Yeah, we're now stepping outside. Is this Hyde Park?
This is Hyde Park, I guess. The entrance to Hyde Park.
Wow. And
we're going to get in a buggy. This is going to get really exciting.
We're getting in a
we're
buggy?
getting on a buggy now.
Oh, yeah.
He's got a little golf cart.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
And
so it'll be like a tour of the studio tour.
Dude, we're talking to you live from London. The reception is phenomenal. We can't get a phone call from across the street, but
I know. It's insane, right? It is insane.
Oh,
this
man.
is so beautiful.
Oh, wow.
What a day.
This looks like
And
it's
now
going to be
here we
a blast.
go.
So you guys are going over for rehearsals right now?
Yeah, we're going to do rehearsals, and they're going to tell me where to stand, what to do, all of that. I guess I'm doing some sort of interview on stage.
Okay.
We'll figure it all out. And, I don't know.
No, listen, it's very exciting. Big super blockbuster, Fantastic Four movie. Everyone is waiting for it. What I've heard already sounds amazing, and there is a cool conceit that that happens with this movie that will carry into other movies that you find out about sort of at the end of the Thunderbolts if you haven't seen it. So, but yeah, it's so much to look forward to, and it feels like breathing life back into everything again. It feels really good.
Yep.
Brian, we're doing the best we can.
We love it. All right. Well, we know you're about to get busy, Michael, so we're going to let you go. Thank you for this fabulous tour of London this morning.
Yes, thank you for joining the tour. If you want to leave a tip, you can Venmo me. It'll be, So, but it's always great to be with you guys. Really, honestly, I love it. And thank you for having me. And hello, Philadelphia. Hello, my friends there and my family.
Excellent.
Say hi to everyone.
All right. We love you, Michael. Thank you so much. Michael Giacchino, guys, live from London this morning via Zoom.